Let me remind you of a non-biblical saying, down to the depths or up to the throne, he travels fastest, who travels alone. When you separate yourself from a body of believers that you're not one of, you feel a loneliness, but you can feel a loneliness with them that's hidden from one's feelings at times because of the politeness and conformity. But the reality is a dysfunction, a disconnection that you're trying to live with. And the importance of that is more significant when you step away. You realize how necessary it is to be you. You see, you need to love your God with all your heart, soul, mind and strength. And while you're conforming to other people's presented, not necessarily truly, but presented God, you are alienating yourself and starving your true self of the experience of living in this world for which you came. You came to gain experience, not just experience of being alienated, but experience too of being with those relationships that are in harmony with what you truly are, and reinforce or guide much more effectively who you are. You see, if you're with a teacher who doesn't speak your language at all, you learn nothing. But if you're with someone who relates, if you like, plays with you in your way of playing, they make your life fuller and guide you in ways, if they love you, guide you in ways that they see as being beneficial to you. And given their experience and wisdom, that's probably a lot better than not being so guided. But to be with an alien teacher who doesn't seem to understand your personal whole view and can only accept a conformity to theirs is no teacher at all. It just further and further alienates you from what you're exposing yourself to, when you could be exposing yourself at least to the possibility of finding something much more harmonious. The experience of one or two good friends and contacts and good pastimes are much more valuable than a whole congregation of aliens. I don't mean to dismiss them, because you find when you step away from a congregation, say, or a group, any group, a society, it could be secular society, you know you're going to lose, and you lose almost immediately. You cut off from relationships that you had, and you do value. I mean, you value because you've experienced the pleasures of conformity and the perks, the fellowship, the greeting, the acceptance, the community. But it's not community with who you are. If it's not, in large measure, then it's alienating you all the time and starving you of your true need for life, opportunity to live according to who you are, what your values truly are. And to find someone, of course, who has similar values or values in harmony with that is a tremendous blessing, greater than any group fellowship of relationships that actually are extremely secondary to each member. You need one or two relationships that are so good that even if you step away from the group, you don't lose them. And if you do lose them, well, they weren't that beneficial a relationship, in fact. So, I don't know if you need to be courageous to do it or need circumstances where the group throws you out. But if you're of the loyalty sort of disposition, like I have been towards wives and towards groups, it's only going to happen when they chuck you out, when they make the break, not you, when they force you out, force you to go, or they leave, whatever the situation is. And don't take that as some terrible disaster. It's the most significant event in blessing you. So often, if not always, I don't know. Bless you. Bless you so much. Thank you, Dad. Well, in passing, I think we've found why people leave churches. I've got a friend who's a pastor and good chap. Brilliant sermons. The only person I could really listen to in a sermon. And you would say modernist, but yeah, most earnest family chap. Anyway, enough of praising man. He dedicated his spare time to writing a book called Why Do People Leave Churches? This, of course, was because, I don't know, probably 3/4 of his church had left one way and another over the years. And, I guess it was a great reality with him. And one thought of all the usual explanations, But I think we've got it here, haven't we? It's alienating to actually be among people that do not have quite the same values as you, or at least enough difference to be alienating. And so you might hide it behind a conformity, and you do things right because it seems to be right. It's the church, the pastor, and the congregation, and the service, and this is how we behave, and this is what we are supposed to believe. So we don't voice too much to the contrary. When we do, not sure that went down very well. And they don't respond straight away. The smile is still lingering on the face, but they leave. They find somewhere else, or they just leave. And yes, it's true. It's because you've not met their perceived needs. Yeah, that's right. And you probably, if you really think about it, you're not actually called to meet their perceived needs. You're called to meet what you truly feel is their need. And they may well revile you for it. You suddenly become the black sheep, or the person that needs to be got rid of, and so it unravels and so forth. If you're faithful and true, you try and weather these storms indefinitely. But it saps your vitality, and there is an opportunity cost. Whilst you're here in this situation, you are not where and with who you should be. It's like a marriage that really has ended. I'm going to be a very touchy subject here. No, you can realise that I'm of no value to you. At least the way you're behaving, I seem to be of no value to you. And I've stuck it for a long time, and the light doesn't seem to be coming at all. I could stick it forever and see if I'm wrong. But there's a great opportunity cost to the person I would have been with. Perhaps imaginary at the moment, but perhaps actual. You know who you'd like to be with. You'd better go. You'd better, actually better go. Okay, you don't want to be unkind, of course. And you try and do what you can. It's not that I'm creating a divorce, it's that divorce is already there. And the opportunity cost of not coming to terms with that, recognizing it, and unhinging, is that you will wither and die. Probably both of you. Life is not simple. Yes, we do value loyalty, but we value rationality greater than loyalty. I could find I'm loyal to an absolute demon after a while. People do change, or they change towards you and become a demon, put it that way. Perhaps that's too colourful language, but perhaps you know what I mean. Some people can turn very horrible, who were very loving. And that is the terrible reality and tragedy of life. And I would that you were guarded against it. Not to act recklessly, of course, but in all sincerity. But anyway, even if you're so sincere like me, you just never unhinge. They'll unhinge you. They'll throw you out, or they'll leave, or they'll whatever it is. If it's a group, they may throw you out, or they may leave themselves, of course, for other reasons as well. If it's an individual, well, they may manage to throw you out, but perhaps more likely they'll just leave and ditch you. And they may not do it in a very considerate way because, well, they feel you're to blame. Oh. Yeah. Bless you. You're going to look to God, aren't you? You're going to trust Him. You're going to seek His face, seek His leading. And perhaps that will result, like me, in you being incredibly, absurdly faithful even when they've divorced you. And perhaps it won't. And perhaps you'll be right. Thank you, Dad.